Greetings and salam Malaysia, Madani. I'm Nur Zamri and this is Updates at Noon. Now the news in full. Political stability and a strong economy will help Malaysia to solidify its position as an influential middle power in the region. According to Foreign Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Zamri Abdul Kadir, this is due to Malaysia's strengths that come due to its strategic geographical location as well as the country's pragmatic approaches when dealing with geopolitical challenges. Other than that, Datuk Seri Dr. Zamri also believed the Madani economy, which was unveiled by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim last week, will leave positive impacts that could help better the economy and living conditions of the people.
Supposed to open economy, and therefore any move by our economic policy must be dictated by what is happening around us, including the international economic situation. So this is very important for us to correlate the Malaysian economic Madani as to the international economy as well.
The minister said this after appearing as a guest during the Bicara Narrative program on TV1 last night. The Bantuan Khas Penghargaan BKP for civil servants and government retirees for 2023 will be paid on the 10th of August. This was announced by the Public Service Department JPA, which shared a circular from its Director General, Dr. Zulkifli Muhammad, through a post on Facebook. The payment of RM300 will be given to civil servants in the management and professional groups, grade 56 and below, including officers and contract appointees. BKP recipients are also extended to government retirees, including pensioners, derivative pension recipients, Employees Provident Fund scheme retirees, optional retirees who have not yet received a pension, pensionable and non-pensionable veterans who will receive RM200. Meanwhile, the RM100 e-cash credit for all citizens aged 21 years and above within the B40 and M40 groups will be rolled out in the fourth quarter of this year. The Ministry of Finance, in its statement on Facebook, said the matter is being studied by the ministry and relevant stakeholders. It said the e-cash aid will benefit more than 10 million recipients. Now, the government has no plans to abolish fee subsidies for local students at public institutions of higher learning IPTA nationwide. Higher Education Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Khalid Nordin said the government remains committed to ensure that all citizens do not lose opportunities to further their studies in higher learning institutes.
Misalnya, kalau kita lihat contoh-contoh program-program pengajian ekonomi sebagainya, kita dapat lihat kalau kos sebenar mungkin untuk 4 tahun dalam 70-80 ribu, tetapi di universiti awam hanya 2-3 ribu. Kalau kerajaan akan teruskan subsidi yang diberikan kepada pelajar-pelajar tempatan yang menuntut dalam universiti awam.
Speaking after completing his working visit to University Utara Malaysia UUM, Datuk Seri Khalid said the government also provides loans from the National Higher Education Fund Corporation (PTPTN) of up to RM3.5 billion a year to students who want to continue their studies. He said a total of 10,000 students in public universities were exempted from paying admission fees this year, totaling RM30 million. Integrating peace education and professional military education curriculum can help towards preventing violence and promoting non-violent means of conflict resolution in ASEAN. According to Defence Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Hassan, such an approach is crucial in today's complex security landscape, as military interventions are often accompanied by the need for post-conflict peace-building strategies. Presenting his opening remarks at the 25th Regional Forum Heads of Defence Universities, Colleges and Institutions meeting yesterday, Datuk Sri Mohammed said the role of education in peace building, particularly in post-conflict settings, can significantly contribute to the consolidation of peace. Datuk Sri Mohammed says stability in the ASEAN region should be prioritised and these outcomes must be materialised at the policy level. On the meeting, he said the event is a platform to share experiences on best practices and lessons learned towards peace-building efforts. The minister said the country can strengthen academic scholarship on peace-building discourse through joint research, funding initiatives and mobility programs. Still to come, 11 killed and 27 others missing as dog story swept over Beijing. That and more in our foreign segment.
Memulakan langkah pertama memerlukan 1000 kekuatan. Langkah seterusnya memerlukan nekat dan juga keyakinan. Namun kita harus sokong dan bantu mereka kerana kepulihan itu pasti.
The first of 3 flights to evacuate French and European citizens from Niger lifted off last night, 6 days after a coup topped one of the last pro-Western leaders in Sahel region. According to French Foreign Minister Catherine Colonna, 262 people, including some European nationals, were evacuated on the first flight. Colonna said the flight would land at Paris Roissy Charles de Gaulle Airport during the night. In the region's third military takeover in as many years, Niger President Mohamed Bazoum was overthrown by his own guard, sounding alarm bells in France, Niger's former colonial master and traditional ally. After hostile crowds gathered on Sunday outside the French embassy and Niger accused France of plotting the intervened military, Paris said it would withdraw citizens and offered to evacuate other Europeans as well. Meanwhile, the French army said 2 Airbus A330s as well as third plane left southern France during the day heading for Niamey's civilian airport. The initiative marks the first time that France has staged a large-scale evacuation in its former colonies in the Sahel, where there have been coups in Mali and Burkina Faso since 2020. However, the Army Chief of Staff announced that the military pullout of France's 1,500 troops from Niger was not on the agenda. Over in Washington, the White House said the United States was not joining European allies in evacuating citizens for now, citing a lack of immediate danger.
Our embassy is open today, operating on a normal schedule. We're monitoring the efforts by France and other Europeans to evacuate their citizens. We urge Nigerian authorities to facilitate an orderly, safe evacuation. At this time, we do not have indications of threats to U.S. citizens or facilities, but we are continually reevaluating our posture to ensure the safety of our citizens.
The White House also said that there is currently no evidence pointing to Russia as the mastermind behind the Niger coup, but warned that some quarters might be taking advantage of the instability in the region. Meanwhile, Special Representative for West Africa and the Sahel, Leonardo Santos Simão, told reporters at the United Nations that the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, are preparing themselves to use force if necessary in Niger. At an emergency summit on Sunday, the West African bloc demanded that Bazoum be reinstated within a week, failing which would take all measures to restore constitutional order. However, Simão said he believed the statement is trying to give time for a peaceful settlement to take place.
A summit gave 1 week to the military junta to hand back power to President Bazoum. If this doesn't happen after that week, then other options are on the making, including military intervention, including use of force. That's what they said. That period, in my view, is try to give time for a peaceful settlement to take place.
The events are unfolding in one of the world's poorest and most unstable countries, a vast semi-desert nation that had already experienced 4 coups since independence in 1960. Gulf's Chief General Abdurrahman Tiani had declared himself leader, but his claim has been rejected internationally from Ecowas, the African Union and the UN to France, the United States and the European Union. Now, in the United States, former U.S. President Donald Trump was indicted on Tuesday over his efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 election, the most serious legal threat yet to the former president as he campaigns to return to the White House. It is the third criminal indictment of the 77-year-old Trump since March and charges him with 3 counts of conspiracy and 1 count of obstruction. Trump, the front-runner for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination, is already scheduled to go on trial next year for allegedly mishandling top-secret government documents. The new charges raise the prospect of Trump being embroiled in more legal proceedings at the height of what is expected to be a bitter and divisive presidential campaign. The indictment brought by Special Counsel Jack Smith accuses Trump of conspiracy to defraud the United States and conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding held to certify Joe Biden's election victory. Trump is also accused in a 45-page indictment handed down by a grand jury in Washington of speaking to disenfranchised American voters with his false claims that he won the November 2020 presidential election. The White House maintained silence on the historic indictment of Trump. The indictment mentions 6 co-conspirators, but none are identified, and Trump is the only named defendant. The eldest son of Colombian President Gustavo Petro, Nicolas Petro, pleaded not guilty to charges of money laundering and illicit enrichment at the court in the capital, Bogota. He was arrested on Saturday on charges of money laundering and illicit enrichment in a scandal linked to Petro's election campaign. The president's son did, however, pledge to collaborate with the prosecutors, which could lead to laxer restrictive measures for both him and his ex-wife, De Soris del Carmen Vasquez. According to charges, Nicolas Petro, a lawmaker in the Atlantico province, received money from accused drug traffickers in exchange for including them in the president's peace plans. The judge will make a decision tomorrow as to whether or not the younger Petro will be held in jail as the process continues. Nicolas Petro was a lawmaker for his father's party in the Northern Atlantic Department. News outlets published bank records of his showing he had far more assets than his salary from Congress justified. In the department and elsewhere along Colombia's Caribbean coast, the younger Petro became a key player in his father's drive to become president.
Sports and gaming, then be sure to stay tuned to RTM because something new is coming.
Welcome back to Updates at Noon. Now, at least 11 people are dead and 27 missing after heavy rains slashed Beijing. According to Chinese state media, military helicopters have been deployed to deliver supplies to stranded train passengers after the deadly rainstorms wreaked havoc in the capital. Storm Doksuri, a former super typhoon, has swept northwards over China since Friday, when it hit southern Fujian province after searching through the Philippines. Heavy rains began pummeling the city and surrounding areas on Saturday, with nearly the average rainfall for the entire month of July dumped on Beijing in just 40 hours. On Tuesday, state broadcaster CCTV updated the overall death toll for the capital, reporting that heavy rainfalls killed at least 11 people, while 27 remain missing. The military unit of 26 soldiers and 4 helicopters launched an airdrop rescue mission in the early hours of Tuesday to deliver hundreds of food packages and poultry to people stranded in and around a train station in Beijing's hot-hit Bentegu district. Experts had warned that the downpour could prompt even worse flooding than in July 2012, when 79 people were killed and tens of thousands evacuated. The country is already preparing for the arrival of another typhoon, Kanun, the sixth such storm of the year, as it nears China's east coast. Armed robbers raided a store of luxury Swiss watch brand Piaget in central Paris yesterday, escaping with between 10 million to 15 million euros worth of jewellery. An investigation is now underway, and a source close to the matter said police were looking for 3 suspects. The robbery took place around lunchtime at the store on the Rue de la Paix in the upscale Place Vendôme area, home to several jewelers, watchmakers and luxury brands. The area has seen a spate of armed robberies in recent years. In May last year, armed thieves robbed a Chanel watch and a jewellery store in the area and then sped off on motorbikes. Bulgari and Chanel stores have also been robbed in recent years. Piaget is part of Swiss luxury goods group Richemont. 5 members of the Chilean Air Force died in a helicopter crash in the south of the country Monday night. The country's Air Force in a statement said a Bell 4112 helicopter crash in southern Chile's Los Lagos region Monday night due to causes under investigation. The aircraft was conducting a night flight training mission with a 5-member crew, including 2 pilots, 2 aircrew members and a rescue paratrooper, and all the crew died at the scene. The Chilean Air Force was providing assistance and support to the families of those who died in the accident. Chilean President Gabriel Boric mourned over the death of the airman in a message broadcast on national television, and the Chamber of Deputies observed a minute of silence at the beginning of its session on Tuesday. Thousands of Salvadoran soldiers and police officers on Tuesday surrounded the central region of Cabanas as part of a massive crackdown on gang activity. President Nayib Bukele had previously imposed a state of emergency in March 2022 that has seen tens of thousands of alleged gang members rounded up. Security forces have on several occasions urged key cities to carry out house-to-house searches for gang members, but it is the first time an entire department is being cordoned off. Bukele wrote on Twitter that 7,000 soldiers and 1,000 police officers have established a security fence around the entire department of Cabanas. He said that Cabanas had in recent weeks become a refuge for gang cells fleeing his crackdown, adding that the blockade would last until the operatives can extract all gang members. Cabanas is a small agricultural region that is home to some 150,000 people. Bukele imposed a state of emergency, which allows arrests without a warrant after a particularly bloody weekend in March 2022 left 87 civilians dead at the hands of gang members. Since then, some 72,000 alleged gang members have been arrested. Last weekend, lawmakers passed a temporary measure allowing for up to 900 people to be tried at once. Now, 2 people were killed and 500 when an attacker hurled a petrol bomb on a bus in Dakar, Senegal. Bus driver Abdoulaye Diop, who was hurt in the attack, said a group of hooded youth boarded the bus and insulted him, while one lit the bomb and threw it. The bus was travelling from the suburbs to the centre of Dakar when it was blocked by a group of people. Interior Minister Antoine Felix Abdoulaye Diop said the attackers had also robbed the passengers of their money and mobile phones. Repeated unrest during leading political opponent Ousmane Sonko's standoff with the authorities since 2021 has seen riots, looting and on several occasions attacks on public transport. According to company manager Baye Omar, demonstrators or bandits were behind the petrol bombing. Diodomi described it as a terrorist attack and declined to link it to protests gripping Senegal after Sonko was indicted on a fresh barrage of charges and his party dissolved, blighting his presidential plans. Next in our sports segment, Sadio Mane officially leaves Bayern Munich for Al Nassr. Stay tuned for sports segment.
mesti menang. Semangat perjuangan terus diledakkan dalam setiap pertembungan. 14 pasukan, satu sorakan. Liga Super 2023 bersama kami di RTM, rakan penyiar NFL Liga Malaysia 2023.
Youth and Sports Minister Hannah Hugh yesterday launched the Rahmah Sports Initiative, which is a continuity of the Payung Rahmah program to help people, especially the less able, to purchase sports items at discounted prices and support sports activities in the country. She said the initiative provides over 100 types of sports equipment and sportswear, and consumers can enjoy discounts of between 10% and 30%. Hannah said the program, which is expanded from the Payung Rahmah initiative introduced by the late Datuk Sri Salahuddin Ayub, would be implemented for 10 weeks from today until the 14th of October. She added the ministry wants to ensure that children and the B40 group who could not take up sports due to financial constraints are able to purchase sports equipment and take parts in sports this time. As to whether the program would be expanded to other hypermarkets, Hannah believes that the KPDN would always be in contact with more vendors and that the Rahmah brand is open to whoever answers the government's call. Bayern Munich's Senegal forward Sadio Mane has joined Saudi Pro League club Al Nassr after one season with the Bundesliga champions. Financial details were not disclosed, but media reports said the Saudis paid €40 million for the 31-year-old who had 2 more years left on his Bayern contract. Mane moved to Bayern last year with high hopes after netting 120 goals in 269 games for Liverpool, where he won the Champions League, Premier League, FA Cup, League Cup and Club World Cup. He was a key figure in the Merseyside club's attack but failed to make the same impression at Bayern, where he fouled out with a teammate Leroy Sane and hit the German winger, an offence for which he was fined and suspended. Mane joins an Al Nassr outfit who have continued to strengthen the squad since the marquee signing of Cristiano Ronaldo last term. Meanwhile, Bayern boss Thomas Tuchel said he was saddened that things didn't work out for Sadio Mane at the club, but feels his departure is for the best. Al Nassr signed 5-time Ballon d'Or winner Ronaldo in December and have followed that up this summer by adding Croatia midfielder Marcelo Brozovic, Brazil fullback Alice Telles and Ivory Coast midfielder Seko Fofana. Meanwhile, Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp on Tuesday urged football authorities to address a late closure of the transfer window in the Saudi Arabia League, fearing it may have a detrimental effect on European clubs. Since the start of the year, clubs in the oil-rich kingdom have spent generously to sign some of the world's leading players, including Cristiano Ronaldo, Karim Benzema and N'Golo Kante. Klopp appears concerned that the closure of the Saudi transfer window on the 20th of September, 3 weeks after it shuts off in Europe, could impact clubs who would be unable to sign suitable replacements.
But that's it. And the influence of Saudi Arabia, we'll see. I don't know. But in the moment, it looks as there's quite influence. It's massive in the moment. I think pretty much the worst thing is that the transfer window in Saudi Arabia is 3 weeks longer open, if I'm right. I heard something like that, than at least in Europe. That's not helpful. So there must be, UEFA, FIFA must find solutions for that.
Brazilian midfielder Fabinho became the third Liverpool player to move to a Saudi club in this close season when he joined Al Ittihad in a €40 million deal, hot on the heels of Jordan Henderson and Roberto Firmino. Tennis player Yi Bingwu collapsed in the middle of his Washington Open first-round match on Monday. The Chinese player was making his way back to the sidelines after a fall when he reached for his chair. The 23-year-old folded over. Personnel were quick to assess him to a safe position on the ground as medical assistants rushed to his aid with cold towels in hand. The collapse came just 20 minutes into the match, and immediately after, Wu went 4-1 up in the first set against Japan's Yosuke Watanuki. Wu was retired from the match, leaving Watanuki to advance to the second round. The incident comes just weeks after Wu collapsed in his opening match in Wimbledon against Francis Tiafoe. Wu was able to finish that match, though he ended up losing to the American.
All right, and with that, we reach the end of today's updates at noon. Our leading story today, stable politics and strong economy will help solidify Malaysia's position as influential middle power. Do join us again tonight at 8:30 p.m. in Saluran Berita RTM and TV1 for more news. Before we go, let's watch a clip of Divine Saviour of the World Festival Parade in El Salvador. Till then, I'm Nur Zamri, Malaysia Wadani, tekad perpaduan penuhi harapan, and have a wonderful day.